It's inching closer. The test between England and India is just hours away. We've talked about India's squad for the Tour of England. We've talked about the preview for this test match, the one-off test that's going to be played in Bristol from Wednesday. And here we are on the outside view to talk about the England squad as well. Yes, there are two teams playing. We talked about the Indian part of things. And here we are to discuss the English squad for the test match. I have with me Ananya Upendran. Ananya, your first thoughts on the England squad for the test match?
The first thoughts would be that it looks like a very, very solid squad. They've picked some form players who are coming in with runs and wickets under their belt. So it looks like a very a solid squad that's covered all bases. And I think it kind of gives a peek into what the conditions are going to be like with the number of seamers in that squad. So I'm really excited to see the 11 that England pick and how that test match is going to unfold.
Indeed, and one of the names that have made the first appearances in a test squad for England is Emily Arlott, a young, exciting seam bowler, bowling all-rounder, if I may so say. Your thoughts on how she's done, because she's had a good couple of recent weeks in the lead up to the call-up.
Oh yeah, she definitely has had a couple of really, really good weeks. And I think she said it herself that she was kind of stunned into silence. She was so shocked when she got the call. And I think everyone else was that, I mean, you usually associate England with very conservative selections. They usually don't pull a rabbit out of the hat, but this time they picked Emily Arlott on the back of some really good form. And I think a week before the squad was announced, Heather Knight did mention Arlott and said that, she was really impressed by her when Storm faced Sparks. So that's probably an indication of what happened the following week. And it's great to see her in the squad. She did bowl really, really well. And I think Arlott's call-up is just a reflection of the contract system that's been put in place and the fact that the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy is now being held in quite high regard, that if you do well there is a chance for you to get in. We saw that with Tash Farrant as well, that she snuck her way into the England squad, and now Emily Arlott. So it's great news for all the domestic players in England, and it's wonderful to see Arlott earn her place in that side on the back of what was a really exceptional performance.
Yeah, let's look at that 15-member squad for England yet again. Sophia Dunkley finds a spot in the test squad. She recently received her first central contract for England as well. So good times for her. So, but you look at that squad, a 15-member squad pruned down from the earliest 17-member. They let go of Freya Davies as well as Sarah Glenn. You look at that squad and you see a lot of seam bowling options there. And as a hashtag team pacer, that must be exciting for you, Ananya.
Yeah, well, I think the seam contingent, or the size of that seam contingent, kind of gives us a peek into what the conditions are probably going to be like in Bristol. The fact that England have such a pace-heavy contingent, it probably means that they're going to leave a bit of grass on the surface. And, with playing against India, you don't want to give them a sniff. You don't want to provide them with a surface that's probably going to deteriorate, because spin is historically India's strength. So I think I'm very, very excited, like I said earlier, about the size of that contingent, about the people who are in that contingent. I feel like they have all bases covered with the likes of Catherine Brunt and Anya Shrubsole. They have that experience there. Someone like Kate Cross, who has had a lot of success in Test cricket. I think she's like the perfect Test match bowler, and she's coming off a bit of form as well. And then you have someone like Tash Farrant, different angle. Left arm seamers are always special. And she's also been bowling very well. I think she can be a handful if she does get into that 11. India don't quite like the ball moving into them. The top order is not very comfortable. So I'd love to see her play in that 11. And then Emily Arlott, I think we saw something on Twitter where they said that she's probably the most Jhulan Goswami-like bowler in England. So, even if she doesn't get to play, I'm sure she'll help the batters a lot with that height, the high arm action, and getting the ball to nip in off a hard length. So very, very exciting seam contingent, and I'm keen to see who actually gets a game.
Yeah, and Heather Knight also announced that Lauren Winfield-Hill will be opening the batting with Tammy Bowman. And it's almost after that I realized that there's no Danielle Wyatt in the test squad. and that came as a surprise to me. Were you also equally surprised? And what could be the thought behind that, you think?
Yeah, well, I was a little surprised, but then when you think about it logically, Wyatt was probably not much of a chance to play in that 11. And then you think about the fact that if she isn't in that bubble with the England team, she's going to be playing a bit of cricket outside that, and probably not wanting her to waste time carrying the drinks or being with the squad there. So I think that was probably the thought process behind it, that because she's so unlikely to actually make the 11, it's probably better to allow her to just get some game time under her belt.
Right then, hours to go before that test match kicks off at the county ground in Bristol. What could be the bowling attack that England could go ahead with? Because I think it could be that only Sophia Eccleston could be the frontline spinner in that 11. What could be the pace combination that you think England would go ahead with?
Well, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what England will go ahead with, but I'm going to say who I'd love to see out there. I'd of course, Brunt and Shrubsole, I feel like are shoo-ins. There's no discussion there. I'd like to see Natasha Farrant play. Like I said earlier, I feel like she's just going to be a different kind of a challenge for that Indian top order. So definitely someone I hope plays. And again, Kate Cross is just made for Test cricket. I feel like she's probably one of the best Test bowlers in that squad, and she's also looked in very, very good form. She has the ability to move the ball both ways as well. So Eccleston will be the only spinner, I think, because you then have Heather Knight who can bowl her off spin. She's more than a handy bowler. I think she doesn't give herself enough credit. So hopefully we see her bowl more in Bristol. But yeah, I think what I'm unsure about is whether England will play 4 frontline seamers or 3 frontline seamers, whether they want to put in someone like a Fran Wilson or Georgia Elvis at number 6 or 7 is I'm not sure. But if they play 4 frontline seamers, I think it would be Brunt, Shrubsole, Farrant and Cross.
Right, there you go. That was the bowling attack that Ananya predicts for England. Of course, can take everything with a pinch of salt because you never know what last minute could have in store for us. But first test Wednesday, and remember that after each day's play, we'll be back on the Outside View Live to dissect the day's play. So keep an eye on for that, and see you next time.